name is Larry Almo, and I'm the Community Relations Director at Aljoya, Mercer Island. And today we have the pleasure of having Bridget Acabra with us. She is in high demand and very tough to get because she has so many speaking engagements. But guess what? She's with Aljoya, Mercer Island today, all of ours. So we welcome you to that. She's flying at 30,000 feet with her headphones on right there. So watch the emergency exits, restrooms front and back. Here we go. But it's our pleasure having her. This is not her first time at Aljoya, Mercer Island. We found out about her through Tina and Stephanie in our marketing department. And we said, we need something fresh and exciting that everyone can relate to. And yes, we have a retirement community. I'll talk about that for a minute, but it's something that all of us can use. We all need to get into this century of iPhones, iWatches, computers. It's whether you like it, it's here, and we have to know how to use it and know how to run it. So we went to Bridget and said, Bridget, can you help us out? Because I have my own issues too. I have my iPhone that my memory is full on my iPhone and I need to offload that. And so I need to know how to do that. I'm going to learn how to do that. But we want to just know more. Now we're going to include the iWatch today too. So that's going to be exciting. But just to let you know, you all are going to be muted, and except for Bridget. And if you do have a question, you just unmute yourself when the time is right. When Bridget says, are there any questions? Unmute your question, or unmute yourself and you can ask a question, or you can put it in the chat as well. So we are recording this. So Bridget loves to see faces. So if you want to show your face on the video, that would be lovely as well. So now, just a little something about Aljoya, Mercer Island. This is our little commercial. We're 114 apartments located on beautiful Mercer Island. We have independent living and assisted living. We have a full chef with meals here, transportation, beautiful courtyard. If you want to find out more about us, please reach out to me and let me know. And we were happy to answer your questions about our community. But it's our pleasure to introduce Bridget. If you haven't been on here before, Bridget provides compassionate training and service of all things digital for seniors and in the tech uncomfortable through her local company, gentletechhelp.com. So if you want to reach out to her at some point, and Bridget, I hope you will send us an overview of today. Would that be, could you do that for us? Okay, good. So listen to this presentation today. Bridget will send us an overview. We will be sending out the video after this event is over, so you can just take your leisure and watch it. You don't have to run real hard and write notes all the time and do all that. Just listen to it, and then we will send the video out. Thank you, Stephanie, and our marketing department for always taking good care of us. So now I would like to turn it over to Bridget. Welcome to Aljoya, Mercer Island via Zoom, and all our listeners who are anxious to hear from you today.
Thank you so much, Larry. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here on like our first gorgeous day in a few days. Although it is cold outside, my phone says it's like 40, 43, feels like 39 or something. It feels pretty cold, but we got some blue sky. So thank you very much for being here. And I appreciate those of you who've turned on your camera, because I really do enjoy seeing people. You know, I think I could see John, I could see Linda, and I can see Angie. So you guys are my entire audience. So your response carries a lot of weight, and everybody else I'll be able to see you at the end. I will be leaving lots of time for questions, and like lots of questions. You will be getting a sheet probably tomorrow. Need a little teeny bit more time to tweak it with notes about what we're doing today. There's a little bit of a hitch in that I can't share my phone screen with you the way I had expected to. So sometimes during this talk, I will be going old school and like holding my phone up to the camera, which, you know, you just gotta be resilient and hopefully you can see it. If not, you know, there'll be a good description in the notes, but I just beg your patience for that because sometimes things are unexpected and this is one of those. But thank you so much for being here, learning about health tools on the iPhones and Apple Watches. And, you know, they're great for everyone. They're designed for all kinds of different ways to be used. But I think there's some real particular uses for people, for those of us who are older. And I would like to walk you through them because lots of people don't know that they're in here. There are things that are available just with the phone that you don't need the watch, and some with the watch. So I've broken it down both ways. So first thing I'd like to say is there are so many differences between the different models. Like even with one phone, there might be 3 different models of it. Then every year there are several models of phones and there are several models of watches. And now we've just gone through a big software update. So probably some of you on your phones are at 14.8 and some of you are on 15 and some of the watches are older and some of them are newer. So there is a big grab bag really of what's available on your particular configuration. So if you look at this and you don't see, you know, what I'm describing, it could be because it's a different model. They definitely in this latest update for the phone, the iOS 15, which you may not have yet because it's not required yet. They have added a couple of really neat features that I'll tell you about as we go along. One of them I just love so much, and I'll just tease that for you. So there's a lot of differences. So you're welcome to follow along on your phone, but if you don't see it, the odds are pretty good it's a different phone, a different version. Okay. When we talk about health tools on a device, the first thing many people think about is privacy. And just want to talk a little bit about the business model for Apple is a little different than the business model for Google. And Apple really goes out of its way now to emphasize the privacy, meaning you're going to notice that you're just going to say you have to approve every 5 minutes. You have to approve, is it okay if this app? Is it okay if this app? Are you guys doing the admits, by the way? I'm seeing. Larry, are you doing the admit people in?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I don't have to do that. Okay. The business model for Google is they read everything and they know everything about you and they're putting ads in. Right? That's one business model. You get all their stuff for free. You get their great stuff for free. Well, Apple's business model is to charge you an arm and a leg for the phone and the watch, and they get a cut of every app that sells. So they are their business model is a little more traditional in that they're selling you things rather than selling you in the same way Google does. And I don't have a problem with the way Google does it. It's a consensual trade-off for me. But so in terms of privacy, just thinking about that Apple knows that you use certain things, but it doesn't like share your specific information unless you want them to. Okay. So Apple differentiates that. And the fact is, if you're using an iDevice, you know, the world knows where you are anyway. If the FBI needed to find you, they'd be able to find you. A lot of times our cars are wired, our cars are Wi-Fi, and our cars have those little things that, the little inserts from the insurance companies now, where if you don't drive much, you get a lower rate, you know. So our concept of privacy is a little different than maybe it used to be. One other thing before we start is that I will be talking about the iPhone and the Apple Watch today. There are lots of other peripheral devices that you can use with your phone or with your watch or with both. There are Bluetooth enabled and Apple Health compatible. That's the phrase, Apple Health compatible blood pressure cuffs and electric toothbrushes and scales and things. So there are a lot of things you can tie into this system. But what we're talking about today is the phone and the watch. So getting started, what are the ways that Apple approaches using these devices to help with our health? So there's 4 ways that Apple helps us do this. And again, when I mentioned earlier that people use this different ways, well, I have a son who plays rugby and he's a weightlifter, and he uses it very differently from me when I'm worried about my cardiac health and not being left alone on the floor if I call in an emergency. So we use completely different settings. And we have different ways of interacting with what Apple does. So 4 ways that Apple approaches helping us use their health tools. One is just the basic thing of tracking and setting up trends. So tracking is kind of the world's, most basic way that we change behaviors, right? It's like Weight Watchers. You track your calories and you're going to meet people, so you're accountable to that, right? There's this tracking and accountability. And I don't know if some of you remember, there was the Hawthorne lighting test for management. I think it was in the 1920s, and it's probably completely apocryphal. It's probably completely wrong. But they were trying to test whether or not workers worked more in a factory when the lights were high or low or whatever. And the upshot, yada, yada, the upshot is people work more when there's somebody standing and watching whether or not they're working and noting it, right? No matter what the light level. So having the devices passively register a lot of things and show us helps us make our own decisions. Second way it helps us is through encouragement. Boy, oh boy, it is your best friend. It is your coach. Here's something from the watch. You're almost there. Just keep going. Stand up. It wants you to stand up once an hour if you have that setting. In your activities, it says, you just had it, this is what you did last week. You can beat that. How about beating it by just a little bit this week? I mean, it just is such a pleasant coach if you like that. And then you can turn it off if you don't like the coaching, but I like it. They also encourage you through this gamification, it's called. They give you badges, right? If you exercised every day for a week, they're like, you get this badge for doing that. And you get a badge for doing everything for a month, or you just did your first dance workout. Here's a badge. So you can, it works for me, and I'll show you how you can go see those. It works for me. And it's also nice to have that encouragement, that feedback loop, sometimes outside of a doctor's office, because let's say you go to the doctor's office like once every 6 months and they're like, oh, good, you lost 3 pounds, but it's actually nicer when something is saying, hey, yesterday you did this. I bet you could do it. So feedback outside of a doctor's office. And then the last way is it actually has some tools that enable exercising and working out. So it's not just measuring, but they have this program. And can you guys see pretty well, my slide? You can see. So I should actually explain in case you can't see the text on it though. This is a picture of Dolly Parton. I'll just make this one big because Dolly will just be there for us. So they have some fitness programs that's a subscription called Fitness Plus. And while you're exercising, you exercise along with it. So like if you go for a walk, Dolly Parton talks to you about her life and it measures your walking. And you get to see some pictures of Dolly Parton. And I don't know why they do that on a walk, because it seems like a trip hazard if I'm looking down at my watch to see some picture of Dolly Parton. But these walk things only work with Bluetooth, like your hearing aids, Bluetooth hearing aids, or the Bluetooth AirPods or Bluetooth anything. And mine died the week before I got this. So I actually haven't heard Dolly Parton's walk yet. But if anyone has done it, I'd love to hear what she talks about. So they enable these tools that help you actually get out and exercise. And then the last way of the 4 is educating. So when we look on the phone, and unfortunately I won't be able to show you as well on the phone as I would have hoped, but where they show you your results and charts, they almost always have a little article below where then it talks about kind of what the averages are for people. And if your cardiac fitness is low, here's some things that you can do to increase it. Ask me why I know what the cardiac fitness assistance is, because they think I should be doing a little better. So those are 4 tools that they use, 4 mechanisms that they use to help us achieve our health goals. So the first thing I'd like to start off with is things that are available on the iPhone without the watch. First one I'd like to talk about is one that we covered in extensively in one of our earlier Aljoya talks. It's about adding your medical information into your phone and making it available for first responders, even if your phone is locked. And I'm going to kind of show you that. I will send very extensive notes on how to do this in our notes because we covered it. And like I said, unfortunately, I can't show you the way that I normally would. Okay. Apple's health app is, if you could see, this white box. Let's see if there's a focal point here. It might be blurry. This white box with a red heart, and it's called Health. And it's on every phone. It comes with the iPhone. If you can't find it, you can do the thing where you swipe all the way past all of your icons, way past, and you get to this thing called the app library. You can tap on the top where it says app library and tap the word health. And even if you can't see the icon, it's going to show you. It's literally going to pull it up. There we go. There's a focal point where it's health. So health is where we're going to be spending a lot of time today and a lot of where you will be working with this. So knowing where health is good for today. So health, if you've never opened it, you're probably going to get a lot of screens saying, here's how you set things up. So maybe you've already set it up. But if you haven't, when you open it, down at the bottom, it says summary and sharing and browse. Sharing is new. If you don't have iOS 15, you don't have sharing, and we'll talk about sharing later. So on the bottom, we have summary. And then you've got a little thing in the corner, which is your profile. It's either your picture or it might just be your initial. And when you tap that, it opens up your profile. And in this profile, you'll see health details and medical ID. Those are two different places where you can put in your information. And I'm not going to hold it up to you, but if you tap on health details, the word edit appears. You'll have very detailed instructions. You'll have edit where you can begin to put in your name, your basic information, your blood type, your Fitzpatrick skin type, which I go on about because it's just a measure of color. And I had a doctor in one of my classes saying, what? And I asked her, what? I have never heard of this before. Why is it as important as blood type? She said, it's not important at all. And I've never heard of it or used it. So at any rate, you can put those things in. You can put medications that affect your heart rate, if there are any. And then you hit done to complete it. You hit edit to edit it, and hit edit again for done. Then you can go back to your profile and do the same with medical ID. And medical ID, when you tap on that, it has a red star at the top. Red star, medical ID. This is where your iPhone can begin to act a little bit like a life alert, because you can put a lot of information in it, your health information, your medication information, also your emergency contacts. And your emergency contacts, if you call a specific way on the phone, if you call 911, they'll also call your emergency contacts. But the very bottom of this is the very important part that I like to tell people about, the first responder access. On this medical ID page, on the bottom, below emergency contacts, it has emergency access, show when locked, and share during emergency call. So show when locked, my watch is telling me to stand up right now. Show when locked means, you know how your phone is locked and you need a little password to log into it, or maybe it needs to see your face, or maybe it needs your thumbprint. Well, if you have show when locked enabled, it means the emergency first responders can kind of swipe into a corner of your phone and be able to get this information. They can't get into your whole phone. They can't get into your credit card. They can't, but they're going to see what medication you have and who your emergency contacts are. The flip side is if somebody pickpockets your phone or you drop it on the street, that person can also see your health information and your emergency contacts. It's your comfort level as a trade-off. I think it's a great trade-off. I don't care if somebody knows my health information, but I would really like the firefighters to know. The second piece of that says share during emergency call. This one, I can't tell you actually how valuable this is, but what it means is there are certain emergency call centers that have a particular some kind of setup that if you call 911 from your phone, they can suck your medical data out and get it to the first responders as they are coming to you. I have no idea if any place actually does that. My guess would be, like most things for the iPhone, are set up for people who live in San Francisco. So I'm betting the Cupertino, California fire department uses this, but I have no idea if anyone else does. I have it turned on because what the heck, right? So you'll get very detailed information about that. But I think that is the biggest piece. All doctors, all firefighters, all ambulance people, everybody knows that when there's an iPhone, if that's enabled, they can do this swipe and get into your information when the phone is locked, right? So that's number one. So big. Number two is something that's a little bit new, and some of it is new just from iOS 15. This is the part where it's going to be a little tough that I can't show you. But now you can download medical records and like vaccination status to your phone where they're very easy to get to. I've been the kind of person who just had a picture of my vaccination card and I would just show people a picture, but I'll show you a kind of a more official, nicer way, because honestly, that card, the picture is so small and the piece of cardboard is so flimsy looking anyway. It looks very unofficial and it looks really good here. But you can not only do your Vax card, which I'll share with you, you can do if your doctor's office has it enabled, or your lab where you get your test results, you can get those onto your phone too. Why would you want your test results on your phone? Well, there's 26 of us here. Probably somebody has been in a hospital situation with somebody where there are a lot of things going on at the same time. And the doctor's office, the medical hospitals and things, the medical system is getting a little bit better at having updated information all the time. But you know, how many times have you been somewhere and they go, well, we don't see the test results from the lung capacity here. So, or we don't see, you know, the latest blood pressure readings from doctor. So you can, in your health, I'm going to hit done from that. Health, browse, and then I will show you. Now there is a health records area, And I can tap on immunizations and I have my COVID immunization here. And here's my dates and it comes from, you know, WA Verify. So here's where they are. There's also an easier place for them too, right? Because that's a lot of work. If somebody says, where's your vaccination? They don't want to stand there. They're tapping 5 things. There is a way, and I'll send you the instructions on how to get your vaccination card to your wallet, Apple Wallet. And Apple Wallet is something for me personally. I have never used Apple Wallet. I use the regular old pieces of plastic in my regular wallet. But now on Wallet, I'm going to show you, it now has a vaccination card and I can tap on that. And it's very bright. I'm so sorry it's so bright. But here is my Vax. Here's my Vax info. And it has a big old QR code in case the person who is taking the information needs to, you know, verify it. But this is verified, issued by, you can see what makes this much more official. Hopefully you can see it if I block this out. It's hard to see, but it actually says it's from waverify.departmentofhealth.wa.gov. So having your medical records in your phone and like straight from your doctor's office and having your vax status. The vax status, if somebody wants my vax status, one tap, here it is. Since it's the only thing I use on wallet, I just leave it up. There it is. Okay. The Apple Health app that I just had you open, I gotta say, it's fairly confusing. I think it's set up in a way that's kind of, there's a lot of information in it and it can be really easy to get lost. So just when you go into your Apple Health app, use the word browse and then look for things. Sometimes if it says you start on this summary page, which is where it starts, it can be hard to find things because they're just showing you things that you've done favorites. So until you get used to moving around a little bit, I use browse. But here's the first step. They often have something called the health checklist up at the top, and it says review your health checklist or setup. And you want to set that up. It encourages you to set up the medical ID settings, low heart rate notifications, high heart rate notification, all kinds of things here. Whatever your phone can do and your watch can do, it asks you to set it up. Something an iPhone can do that not a lot of people know, it's a pedometer. It's a pedometer. If you carry it along with you, I think it's 8 and above. I don't know that 6 and 7. So iPhone 8s and above are pedometers. And with this new update, it's not just a pedometer, but it's a walk steadiness evaluation. So to get to your iPhone step counter, I will give you instructions, but I think you could probably I think we could probably go together right now in that health app. Tap browse in the bottom right corner. And you tap activity at the top under health categories. It has steps there. And I'm actually okay that you guys can't see mine because there are an appallingly few number of steps between the bedroom and the computer. So, so those steps, you can tap on steps, and this is something you don't need the watch for. And then you've got a little chart of your steps. Is it still too bright now? A chart of your steps. And up at the top, like all the charts, you can look by day, you can tap by week, you can tap by month, by year, by 6 months. It has a little trend here. If it has enough data, it'll have a trend. And then it has, you're walking more steps a day this year than last year. Here's that encouragement. Last week, you stepped this or that. And then at the bottom, it gives you that information about steps. And then something we will see and talk about later at the bottom of that. Oh, here's some apps you could buy. If you're interested in steps and things, here's some other things you might buy or be interested in. So they throw in a little ad in there, but they're not getting obnoxious about it. So to set up the walk steadiness, that's part of the setup there in that one that I showed you in summary, the health checklist. You have to add your height and weight. And you also have to, and this will also be in the instructions, way back in your settings, back here in your settings, that gray gearbox. In your settings, you have to look at your privacy. And there is down in privacy, when you go to privacy in your settings, it's privacy at the top. Down near the bottom is a little green icon that says motion and fitness. So you have to give your phone permission. You have to turn it on in this blurry fashion. You can see that there's green, that's turned on green though. You have to let your phone, give your phone permission to measure your activity and share it with the health app. Somehow this company that kind of offers like workspace stuff, for some reason they also, I could share my fitness stuff with them, my motion, and I have no interest in it. And I don't know why they would have any interest in it either. So that's how you go in. So if you have a phone Just a regular phone, and you just want to keep it with you at about waist level when you take your walk. It's a pedometer. You can also buy pedometers that are probably maybe a little more accurate, but this is a pedometer. You just have to have it on you when you're walking around. And in iOS 15, there's that walk steadiness. So iOS 15, meaning it's not the watch, it's the phone, but it's that latest update. They're going to watch you walking for quite a while. Well, they're not watching, but they're just going to measure if you've given them permission. And they have a sense of, when I go to health and browse, I can go to mobility, and it will have a walk steadiness rating at the bottom. And it will tell me whether or not it thinks that I have a risk of falling in the next year. And it has articles about things you can do to become more steady. I mean, who is this designed for? This stuff is not designed for my weightlifting son. This is designed for us. This is fantastic. Fantastic. And that's just with the phone, and that is with the iOS update. With the update, there's something else that I love, absolutely love. You can now share your health data with other iOS users. So if you have someone else in the family who has iOS, who has an Apple phone, and they're updated to 15, you can share some of your health information. What kind of health information? Again, this is where it gets a little life alerty. Life, that's not flirty, life alerty, not life flirty. So when you go into your health app, if you have iOS 15, you'll see that sharing icon on the bottom. On the bottom down here. If you could see my icon. So here is one son. You share with this person. They need to be in your contacts, and they need to have iOS 15. You then can choose what kind of things to share with them: high heart rate, low heart rate, irregular heart rate, or other things. With this son, I have shared number of times fallen, because we're going to talk about the hard fall detector on the watch. So I think I shared my steps and my number of times fallen. And I'm hoping that if they see that I've fallen, Apple will take care if I fall. But if they see that I'm not taking any steps, I hope somebody will give me a call and see if I answer the phone. When you do this share with them, Apple sends them a request, and they have to agree. They have to accept that request. And having a little thing, I have two sons, and the other son hadn't updated yet, so he can't be this yet until he updates. So I love that. I love that. If I was somebody with some heart issues, boy, oh boy, would I be sharing my heart information with family. Okay, we're doing good on time to step into now the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch, and I am, maybe Larry was an earlier Apple Watch addict, but boy, I held out for a long time. I said, they're kind of, I'm sorry, I think they're kind of ugly. You know, I'm not going to use it. I can't see small screens. I'm not going to use this. And so I held out for a long time. Well, let me tell you what got me not holding out on this. A couple things was the weight gain over last year, over the pandemic last year, and realizing that I have no intrinsic motivation to exercise, zilch. While we're in the winter, you know, I don't live at Aljoya. I don't live in a place with a gorgeous, you know, workout space. You have a gorgeous workout space. I know you have a gorgeous patio and gorgeous food. Yes. And now I'm living alone. I had a family member here during the pandemic. So I kind of wanted all of the boost that I could get. But I'll tell you, the thing that tipped me over the top to getting the Apple Watch, in addition to it being $50 off at Target, so that happens sometimes, is that it can measure your blood oxygen level. And as we know with COVID, blood oxygen level can be a little bit of a sneaky and dangerous thing. This measures your blood oxygen level whenever you want it to. And I'll show you about that. That kind of closed the deal for me. All right, but the biggest thing most people know about health with their Apple Watch is the rings. Close your rings. Larry, how are your rings today? What does your red ring look like? All right, close your rings is this phrase that you kind of get into when you have this watch, because this talks about your activity goals for the day. Apple suggests some based on your age and stuff, but you are in charge of setting what they are. So what are they? It's a ring that fills up. It's 3 rings, concentric rings that fill up over the course of one day. The outside is calories, your basic movement calories. So it's calories you use. The green ring is cardiovascular fitness. So that's when it knows your heart is really pumping, based on your age, it knows your cardiovascular fitness level, which is very different from me than the weightlifting sun. And the blue is the number of times you've stood during an hour of the day, because they know that sitting for hours and hours and hours is not good for our bodies. So this green one is one that I have a challenge with, right? That's cardio fitness. They really say, doctors say, half an hour of good cardio fitness a day is really good for your body. And I find that a little challenging in winter when it's cold and wet and yucky. But what you do is when I'll say, I'm going to go on a walk. I tap on my watch. I tell it I'm going to go on a brisk outdoor walk. And then I go on a brisk outdoor walk. And all the time while I'm walking, I wish I could be listening to Dolly Parton. I can't. It's measuring my heart rate. It's measuring how far I'm going. And at the end of the time, I tell it stop, and it's going to tell me what I did. And it's going to show in my green ring, right? Very satisfying. But it's also very accountable, because if I turn it on and say, I'm going on a brisk walk outside, and I go on a walk outside, but what I do is I wind up spending a lot of time taking pictures of the salmon spawning because I live near Issaquah Creek. It doesn't give me credit for that. It knows that my heart is not pounding and I'm not walking anywhere. So it doesn't just take you blindly at your word. If you say, I'm going to be doing vigorous dancing, and you're just sitting in a chair tapping your toe, it's like your heart rate isn't elevated. We're not counting this. So it holds you accountable. I see you nodding, Angie, that's good. All right. The standing, where it asks you to stand once an hour, and it measures if you get up and do something. The good part is it tells you to stand. The bad part for me is I often walk to the kitchen and get something to eat, but that's not the watch's fault. That's not the watch's fault. All right, here's another piece of something that Apple in that enabling. So this is the feedback, right? The tracking. Here's something pretty cool. It's an extra subscription that Apple has. It's called Apple Fitness Plus, and it's these video programs that you can show on your phone. This is shown on a phone, or I have an iPad, and you can pick. They have this whole library of exercise programs, including a whole bunch for older adults that I really like. They include like dance, walking on a treadmill, rowing machine, cycling machine. So if you have those machines, you put this on. You just put your device up there. And what you can see in this picture that's pretty cool is on your body, your watch is tracking your heartbeat and your activity level. And it shows in the corner of the video, and it pops up. The guy will say, or the person will say, okay, now now it's our cool down, or now our heart rate should really be pumping. And your stuff is up here. You can see what you're doing and how much time, and it's live time. He doesn't see it, obviously, he's a recording, but it's really motivating. And there in that right-hand corner on the screen, you see your things filling up. I like the fact that they have programs for all different levels. This is, I think, a regular level. This guy over on the left in the gray outfit, he is one of their older instructors. So he does some intense things for older adults. all kinds of different things, meditation, yoga, weightlifting, core, dance. And they always have somebody who does it on the right very vigorously, the teacher in the middle, and person doing a little less vigorously on the left, although this guy does not look like he's doing it less vigorously. But on the older adult ones, they show how you can use things standing next to a chair or something. So I love this way of, whether it's on your iPad or your phone, you're able to see what you're doing right in the video that you're watching. And I talked about that gamification. Here's those badges. I talked about those badges. Here's the kind of badges that you might get. These are not my badges, but the badges I will show you. You have a fitness app on your phone and you tap on that fitness, and the fitness app, if you notice, what does it look like? It looks like those same 3 rings. It's just there. Again, sorry for the blurriness. I tap that. Now I've got on my summary, here's for today. Oh, you guys, I can be honest. I've done, the red is this much walking. I've done exactly 0 of 20 minutes of cardio, and I've stood up 1 time out of the 10 times I need to do it today. These are workouts I did yesterday. Excuse me. It's hard doing this backwards and sideways here. But down at the bottom, here are my awards. And I can go to my little awards showcase. I don't know, I think they call it like a showcase, like in a football trophies, right? So this is kind of, motivating. It's a little motivating when you've got like 2 more minutes, it's 7 o'clock. It's like, come on, you could just get up and march in place for 2 minutes. Yes, I can. It's just a little nudge that I know myself I would never do. A couple other settings. I want to watch our time, have questions. There are sleep settings now. You can there's sleep settings on the phone, which kind of just quiet down the brightness of things. But now when you've got your watch, it can measure your respiration, and it takes a guess at how much you're moving around, whether or not you're actually asleep. I find it a little challenging to do that. I like it, but I find it a little challenging because if I'm wearing it all day, I need to charge it. So to be able to kind of take it off and get it charged and back on before bed, it's a little hit or miss for me. But it does show the respiration and in the health app. And it also shows when I get up to yell at the cat, because the cat has yelled at me about getting food. You can see my heart rate go up and my respiration go up. So here is that super exciting thing that I loved, the blood oxygen level. The blood oxygen level. It uses light, a light measurement into your skin. You can't see it or feel it, but it's kind of a good thing to know. There are also a number of heart rate sensors. And then you go into your, just show you really quick. You go into that health app, you go into summary, go to browse, heart. And boy, there is heart rate, resting heart rate, variability, cardio fitness, your walking health rate. I mean, there's just a lot of information in here. And again, with a Series 6 watch, you can actually take a little ECG to see if you're in AFib. Now, I don't have atrial fibrillation. My mom did. That's a thing to know. You just hold your finger on it and it measures it, and it says it never checks if you've had a heart attack. But you know what? I've used the heart rate the other day. Something unexpected happened. I thought it happened and it didn't happen. And I was really stressed for a moment, and I said, I wonder if I feel kind of uptight and stressed about this thing that almost happened. And I checked my heart rate, and sure enough, my heart rate was so high. And I went, oh, I mean, you hear it all your life. You hear it all your life. Like, stress is bad. But it's like, oh, no, literally, my heart is now zooming around for something that really had it didn't happen at all. So Goes to show that what they tell you about that is true. Hand washing, and a Series 6 Apple Watch can measure your hand washing. How does it know? It kind of measures your hand movements, and then it hears the water, and it has a little microphone on, so it tells you that it's listening. It hears water, and then once you start washing your hands, it counts down 20 seconds for you. I thought this was going to be fantastic. It's not so fantastic. By the time it recognizes that you're washing your hands, I've already been washing my hands for 10 seconds. So, but you can set it up to remind you when you come home. It knows when you've come home, and it will remind you to wash your hands when you walk in the door. Also, the watch has the ability to not just show your steps. It will take over the step counting if you have an Apple Watch, but it will also show your speed, your step length, how much time you are on 2 feet, if there's asymmetry, if you're walking, if you have a limp situation going on. All stuff that's good to know as we get older. They also have hard fall detection. So if you have an iPhone and a watch that has the gyroscope, it has the measurement thing. What am I thinking? Oh, I can't think of the word. I'm so sorry. But if it can measure movement, accelerometer, the accelerometer, you'll be able to go to your watch. This is when you want to do things on your watch. I always suggest using the app on the phone, because who can see the little teeny tiny watch screen? You go here and you tap on emergency SOS, and now you've got the ability to turn on fall detection, like Life Alert, same thing that Life Alert uses. I have it always on, and if you fall, it starts buzzing your wrist and making sound, and it tries to get you to pay attention. And if you don't answer in some period of time, then it both calls the ambulance and it texts your emergency contacts. But it tries to get hold of you first. It will tap your wrist, sound an alarm, do a countdown. So I like that. Here's a feature that I've turned off, a health feature that I have turned off, and we're almost done. I'll give this time for questions. It's called Mindfulness, and like the standing up thing, a few times a day, you can set how often. It says, just stop and breathe, and this little thing you see will go big and small. You breathe in and out. Very nice. But I got so tired of being interrupted with my work. It was making me, instead of mindful, it was making me stressed out. Like, leave me alone. I'm busy right now. So I turned off my mindfulness. There's also a setting where it says it can remind you, it can say every once in a while, and here's an exact quote. Think of something that was fun. Remember why you liked it. And that's good. It's just not a relationship I want to have with my watch. Just leave me alone. Measure my heart rate. Don't talk. Think about something that was fun, and then remember why those people aren't around anymore, or I don't know, whatever. And now you're stuck inside in COVID and you can't go have fun. Yeah. You remember how fun it was to be out with people? Yeah. So anyway, you can turn those off, but if you like, you can turn them on. Your watch also measures the environmental decibels. Your phone will measure the decibels in your headset if you use headphones or headset. But your watch will also measure the environmental sound and give you an alert if you're exposed to loud sounds for too long. I have measured my cat at 65 decibels. So in the middle of the night, 65 decibels sounds like a jet engine landing, but apparently it's not. As I showed you before, whenever you see a chart, like here's weight, which, oh my goodness, I hit my weight. How did that happen? But below the weight, here's a bunch of apps that I might want to buy if I wanted to do some calorie tracking, things like that. So that's how they make their money. And now I we'll come back from this. And we have now maybe 10 minutes for some questions about things. Wanted to leave us for questions. And I would like the questions to be based on iPhone and iWatch health apps, not how to get space on your phone because you have too many photos. Okay, so we'll keep it to this topic. Sorry, Larry. Yes, John. You know what? Let me make it so that I can actually see. Oh my gosh, look at all these folks. All right, John. John.
Yes. I'm a volunteer for the Washington State Department of Health Older Adult Falls Prevention Program. And you know, when we fall, older people fall, it's really comes deadly sometimes. I don't have the phone. I'm sorry, I have the phone, but I don't have the watch. Can I get falls on my iPhone?
It doesn't have the same kind of accelerometer.
All right. Thank you very much. That was my question. Thank you very much for your reply.
Sure.
This is Sue. I'll make this quick because the only reason I'm listening, I got a new iPhone 13 Pro Max and I hate it because I'm an Android, Samsung, Windows. And will you be doing something on photos? That's really where I'm having absolutely no success, even 4 hours in Apple Care, 2 hours at the Apple Store, I'm just not having any way to transfer. So will you do something on photos that relates to that later?
Well, you'll add, the request should go to Larry and Stephanie.
Okay.
Let me ask real quick because there's a little thing in there. I do lots of training for the cameras, for the camera and for photos. But when you say transferring,
I transfer all my photos. If I go on a trip, I might take 4,000 photos. I transfer it to my Windows, put it through Photoshop Elements, put it back. I used to be able to put it back into Google Photos, and then I could sort it by name, which is the way I'd sort 300 pictures.
So that's 3 operating systems. You're going from Apple to Windows to Google Drive, and you're using, what would you say, Lightroom?
No, a Photoshop Elements. That's after I get it from my computer. Yeah.
There's 3 operating systems and 1 pro. That's a kind of a pro level software to use with that. So that is not something that would be ever in a general talk about photos. That is a super specific service level kind of thing. That wouldn't be broad enough to talk to. So because I guarantee you, most people don't do that. You've got a good system. I bet you are like an awesome photographer. I mean,
and I can't even get the photos into all of the photos into my computer, even with a cord.
Yeah. There's other ways. There are other ways to do that, but that would be a little too in depth. Yeah.
If I hired you, could you do it, or is that also?
We could talk offline. How about you call me and
I will do that.
Yep. And
thank you.
We still have some time for other questions about iPhone health or
there's one in the chat too.
Oh, and I'll do chat one and then Linda. What is the importance of heart rate variability? I am not a doctor, so I mean I could go and read that article to you, but it would just, I don't know. Heart rate variability. I don't know what the medical piece of it is. I would assume is your heart rate very steady? Heart rate variability. It's a measure of the variation in the time intervals between heartbeats. So I bet a cardiologist could tell us that. Linda.
I have a question about the iOS 15. I always get notification when there's an upgrade, but I'm on 14.8.
Yes.
And I don't have any notification there's an upgrade.
Yes. So they send the notification when they really want you, when it's still optional right now. So actually, if you go to your phone, what year of phone do you have? I mean, what model?
12S.
Okay, you'll have it. If you go to settings, and then let's see, we're going to general, and then software update.
Yep.
It's gonna say
oh
yeah,
it's an option.
Yeah, so it's still optional at this point. They've already done one level of bug fixes to it. So it's been long enough that I do recommend people, it's safe to do it now. I always say, don't do it the first day they put the
Okay.
thing out. It's been a couple months now, and it takes a long time. It takes maybe 45 minutes to an hour. So
Okay.
do it at a, in the evening or the time, and you kind of need to pay attention to it. It needs to be plugged in. It's a big update. It's not one of the small ones. So.
Okay, thanks.
And there's a tiny update now. They've done 15.1.1. So each dot down in those numbers is like
Yes.
is like smaller. So now I had 15.1, but now there's 15.1.1. So it's a little teeny thing that they need to put in there.
Okay.
Some other questions? Nora, you can unmute, and then Robert. Nora, then Robert.
Yes.
I had a question about if you're on a walk, if you don't tap your phone and you're on a brisk walk, that's not counted?
The brisk walk is part of the watch.
Yes.
So-
But the walk won't pick it up. I mean, the watch won't pick it up unless you tap it.
I've tried that a couple different ways, and I've read about it. It picks it up better. It picks it up faster. You are more likely to get all your credit if you actually go to your watch, tap the rings, click the thing, go down and tap workout and pick outside walk, and then hit start. It picks it up more quickly, because otherwise it kind of has to track what you're doing and go, oh, I can see that she's outside. I can see that she's moving. Now I can see her heart rate. So it'll get it eventually, but you won't get as much credit as if you tell
Okay.
it. And then Robert, I think there was a.
Yes,
Yeah.
the
There you
question
are.
is, how do you get the, measure the oxygen level on the watch again? I know you covered it briefly, but I'd like to know what icon do I look for?
So you have to have a Series 6 watch. And I have my watch set up. I don't know if you guys can, I don't like the little circles. I have my watch set up so that I can see everything in a list. So I
Yeah,
click
I
my
have the
thing.
circle.
Oh, I hate that so much.
I know.
I changed that in the setting. Look for the Apple Watch thing on your phone. You can change it so it's just a list. I can't deal with the dots. But anyway, if you have a Series 6 watch, which is not the newest one, it's
I
the
have
one.
the I-13.
The blood oxygen level is from the watch, not the phone. So you on your watch, you look on your list, and I mean, it says blood oxygen. And you tap blood oxygen and you tap start, and you just let it go.
Where is
I have
the
one more.
list? I'm sorry, what?
Robert, do you have a Series 6 watch?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So blood oxygen is in that list. It's either in your dots, or if you have it set up as a list, it's in the list, blood oxygen.
Okay, I'll have to find out how to set it up as a list then.
Yes, actually go on your phone. There'll be an app that has like, it's black and it has a little watch circle on it, and it's called App View. And you can choose between the millions of dots that are just ridiculous or a list.
Ah, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Nora.
Okay, I had, yeah. You talked about the watch and it correlating or picking up what you were doing on a machine. Do you have to do something to the watch to tell it you're on a machine for it to record something, or?
No, the machine thing was, you can, so the watch has that too. So it says like rowing, right? You can go to your workouts, go to on your watch, that list, tap workouts, and then find rowing and do that. And then if you're using that Fitness Plus, that extra subscription thing, you put your iPad up on the rowing machine and then turn it on and do it. But yes, you can. Will it pick it up? It will eventually pick it up, but if you tell it I'm on a rowing machine, it already knows they've spent so much time understanding what people are doing that it has a better estimate of your calories used and your heart and stuff. So
Okay, so same thing as walking.
yeah, if you can, if you know you're doing it, go to your watch, tap workout, and then pick what you're doing and then hit start. You'll get more credit.
Right.
I mean,
Thank you.
that extra minute or that extra 10 calories I want. Other folks?
We have some chats, too, a couple chats there also.
Sure. Okay. Chat is mindfulness. I get the reminders, but I don't know how to give me a message or something to listen to. I'm not sure that I get the reminders, but I don't know how to get
So
it.
Bridget,
Uh-huh.
when you got the reminder,
Mhm.
all I seem to be able to do is have it say, here's your reminder. And I don't know how to have it give me more information. I thought you alluded to the fact that it might tell you to think a happy thought or something. And I don't know how to make it do that.
On your watch.
Yeah.
So on your watch, on your mindfulness app,
Yeah.
add new meditations to watch. So the meditations are just like a little talk. Are you talking about the breathing or it's not going to tell you, it's just going to give you that little blurb and say, think a happy thought.
Oh, okay. I didn't even get that, but I get the message that it's mindfulness. It's from the mindfulness app. That's all I get is a message. And then I can say, start and dismiss. And that's
Yes.
it.
Yes. That's it.
That's it. Okay.
You can start your breathing thing or start your thinking thing and dismiss. Yeah, that's the extent of the interaction with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Bridget, did you see Simon's question right before that?
No, Simon's question. Here we go. Can Apple Watch detect deep sleep pattern and what is phase? I don't think it can. This is pretty new. So this one, I think it's just, I don't know how deep sleep, it's certainly not measuring your, electroencephalogram. It's measuring your respiration and your movement. It doesn't even measure your temperature. So I don't think it measures it. It says it does, but I'm not sure how it could. I'm going to look at mine. And like I said, for me, it's hard to, let me look at sleep. Yeah, it
Fitbit
tries to average
Fitbit
time.
measures it, but then you need 2 devices on your wrist, which would be goofy.
Yeah, it measures your time in bed, it measures your respiration, it measures your movement. So, it measures when you get up and yell at the cat. Victor, do you have a question? Or if so, you can unmute, or anybody else can unmute for questions. You have a watch, but you are, I'm going to ask to unmute, and we can't hear you. So ask to unmute. Maybe if you can unmute. Yes, Victor.
Can I play the music on the iWatch just like the iPhone?
You
Because,
can't. You
because-
can. I don't do that. I don't know. That's kind of not in health, so I don't do it. But yeah, you can.
Let me tell you why I need it, because I have Parkinson problem. I have a movement issue.
Uh-huh.
I always have to start the first step when I start walking. I need to have a beat, a music
Oh,
beat.
that's awesome. That's beautiful.
So-
Yeah, you know what? I will look that up. So do you have Apple Music?
Yes,
Yeah, so I will look how to play Apple Music.
because every time I use the iPhone, he tell me to use the device, to connect to the device. But the Parkinson patient listen to it on the earphone, or listen out from the music is very
the music should
different.
but so you want it to just hear regular, or do you want it to
Yeah,
hear?
because all I need just the beginning, the beat, boom, boom.
That's so
boom,
funny
boom.
that it doesn't. It's very funny that it doesn't want you to play. It doesn't want to play on your phone from Apple Music. That's very strange. So I'll look and I'll see if I can find that.
Thank you.
Janet has a hand up. I don't know if you mean to have a hand up, Janet. But,
Oh, yeah, yes, I have a question. How do I how can I be sure my iPhone is backed up before I upgrade, say, to iOS 15 to get this good stuff?
That's kind of out of scope for this, but you can look in your setting, look in your iCloud, look in your backup, look for last time the phone was backed up. If you look in your settings, there'll be a place where you can see the last time the phone was backed up.
I look at the phone for this, or I have to go to iCloud somehow?
You can go on your phone.
Oh, okay.
Yep, phone.
Settings.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Go in settings and just search for backup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Settings.
Browse respiratory. Angie has browse respiratory blood oxygen detect. Is that a question? I'm browse respiratory blood oxygen detect. So I'm not sure what the question is there or the comments.
Angie, unmute so we can hear
There
you.
we go.
Okay.
So the question is, does the blood oxygen get measured under that? Under just respiratory where it says blood
Yes.
oxygen?
Yes.
Or do I have to use, or does it just give data for the phone?
It just gives data. So it's the watch that takes the measurement.
And do any of the apps give it? There's 2 apps that they give there for blood oxygen.
No, you need something. You need something to take the measurement.
Okay.
So whether it's an Apple Watch or I think some of the high-end Fitbits do it too and stuff. So yeah, or a Bluetooth blood oxygen level thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And now so Janet still is muted with a hand up. I don't know if Larry,
I'll take my
Stephanie.
hand down. I didn't take my hand down. Thank
All
you.
right, sure. So if anyone else has anything that's you'll get some notes. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good. Now, I just wanted to, again, thank you, Bridget, and thank you for all the great questions and all the listeners that are here today.
Yeah.
So you're going to get an email from me in the next couple days, and it's going to include the video of today's presentation. So you'll be able to look it over again. And, there's a lot of technical things there that you'll like to see. Also, you're going to get from Bridget an overview and some directions on how to get to certain things. Correct, Bridget?
Yes, some of the things will be in detail where I told you I'm going to give you real detailed notes, and some will be like, this is something we talked about. And it'll be coming from Larry. Larry will be sending it to you from me.
Yes, so when I get it from Bridget, I will send it out. Also, I'm sending out in that email, it'll be one email with everything in it, and the email will have a feedback form. I heard some listeners saying, oh, I like to do this, or I'd like to do that, or do you have something on, some kind of technical pictures or something with, Bridget can do it all when it comes to technology. So mostly all, everybody's still learning, but put it in your feedback form so we can listen and we can hear and we can take it over to Bridget and talk to her about it for our next series of something with technology with the iPhone or the iWatch. And the one with the health, while you were talking, I put in my height, my weight, I put in my emergency contacts. I think it's very important. Health-wise, I also put the fall detection because I heard someone who did fall and they did call 911 and they were saved from a bad fall. So it does work. Also, I checked my heartbeat while we were at the beginning here, and my heartbeat was going way up to get online, to put this all together, to make sure Bridget showed up. She did, and my heart rate went nice and down and very calming after that. And also, our next event is our open house. So here's going to be our open house. You will get an invitation where you get to come in and take a look at our community. Also, we have a fitness center. The fitness center where you can use your watch and use your tools, and we have enhanced fitness, and we have all these other kind of exercise tools that you can use your new Apple Watch. Do you get any commission for Apple Watch, Bridget?
Oh, I wish. I wish. Watch for a sale at Costco or Target.
Okay, good. So Target's got the best deal so far that you've seen?
Yeah, it was like a hot minute. It was like 2 weeks right before the new ones came out, and it's a $50 price drop on one model. It's like, it's
Yes.
mine.
I also like the earbuds too, that you can really hear well with them too when you use that. So that's another good one.
Yeah, but when the
So-
batteries go in those, you can't replace them. Isn't that
No.
ridiculous? Yeah.
So I want to hear your request. We want to get back on Bridget's calendar. I don't know when yet, but I'm assuming after the holidays, we will do that. And in the new year, 2022, we're all on diets. We're all going to lose weight. We're all going to check our heart rate. We're going to do all these fun things. And then if I could give a badge to Bridget, it would be one with the heart in it, because you're so caring for seniors. You're so caring
you.
for all of us here. I love working with you. So
Excellent.
I thank you all very much for joining. You took the time today to do it, and everyone have a wonderful day. And we look forward to seeing my email in a couple days. All right. Okay. Wonderful. We're signing off. Thank you all. Thank you for a wave, whoever's on. We love to
Bye.
work with
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you.